Advisory Committee meeting at Buildings and Infrastructure. And it is Monday, July 12th, 2021, 8:30 a.m. And I guess is Penny rushing on? I think other than Penny and Neil. We have a quorum, so let's proceed. Good morning, Tiger. And Mark, is Mark going to be the first presenter this morning?
Yes.
Actually, first of all, I forgot about the minutes. Let's do the minutes and then the public comment. You received the draft minutes, and anybody have any comments or corrections about the July 12th, 2021? What did I say? July 12th? What is today? September?
Right.
13th.
September 13th, but July 12th was the minutes for the last meeting. Any comments or corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes? No motion. We'll accept them as presented then, which I think is Robert's Rules of Order, Penny, right?
I'll move.
Okay, Penny Rasher moves. I have a second.
I'll
All in
second.
favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
There have been no changes. You don't need a motion.
All right, so I think the minutes are approved. Public comments. If anyone from the public, I don't see anyone on here other than the press, and Terry Spring is actually from the public. So if anyone wants to make comments, this is a virtual meeting. So I suppose we can allow comments from anyone who's on, but otherwise we will take comments by email to who are the, I don't know who the comments are supposed to go to, but I guess we can use bos.distribution.buchanan.ct.com if anyone wants to send email comments by email, and we'll read them. Terry, did you want to join us for a comment, or do I have to unmute Terry? I don't know if Terry can hear us. Maybe it's not Terry. Anyway, that brings us to the agenda. Tiger, do you want to launch the agenda, or do you want to go directly to Mark?
Well, we had the roof solar update first from the high school.
That's the next item on the agenda. Okay.
Yeah, that's the next item on the agenda.
Okay, so Joanne, good morning, Joanne. And Dan is also with us.
Good morning.
Tell us about
Yes,
the
good
high
morning.
school.
I'd like to share a document. It's a drawing of the school. I believe, is it Pam that can connect this up for me?
Oh, we have to
She
make
here
you a
today?
co-host. Tiger, can you make your co-host? Can you make Dan so he can share his screen? Yes, Tiger.
I'm trying, hold on. I don't have that option, Kevin.
All right, let me have Pam do it.
Yeah, well, Kevin, you're the host. Where are you standing?
So while we're waiting for the screen to be shared, just a brief summary of where we are with the roof. As you recall, we decided at budget time to, rather than going over a 2-year period, to do the roof in 1 year. And that actually turned out to be, I think, a very wise decision on part of everyone involved. We were able to get our orders in for the materials prior to a shortage in the marketplace. So that helped us price-wise significantly. And so right now we do expect to come within, probably below our $3 million budget that we have for the project. The rain has not been helpful this year, unlike the last two projects that we had at East and South, where we were able to complete them prior to the start of school. This time was not the same. So we are still working at the high school. There has been significant progress. In fact, we are what we would call substantially complete, with the exception of a few roofs that need to be completed. And Dan's going to show you a picture of that. So overall, the project, despite the weather, is going to be what we feel a very successful project when all is said and done.
Yeah,
So Dan, are you able to share now?
Give it a try.
Give it a try.
Yeah,
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not taking it. But what I can tell you, well, I'm trying to figure this out, is that, you know, you've heard us say before at different meetings for different roofs, including the high school, that there's, in this particular project, there's 28 different roof surfaces that all require 28 different plans. And we're down to 4 after today. They're finishing up with the boiler room. But basically, we started at the south end of the campus, at the athletic side, and have gone through the majority of the school, replacing the roof. And as they say, now they're on top of the boiler room, and then they'll go to the final, the art and music wing, and then finishing up in the auditorium. So we're probably 3 to 4 weeks away. But as Joanne said, we lost 17 days with rain. But despite that, we're substantially complete, and actually quite pleased with the work and the team. So.
And with that, I mean, I think we can start the planning phase to go out to bid on solar. So we have, you know, Mark has a plan that he's put together to kind of cascade 3 different projects and optimize all of the available credits that we can get. So he'll speak to that, I'm sure. But there you go. Awesome. All right,
Hey,
Dan.
Joanne, can I ask you a quick question first? Did you say the entire roof project is coming in at you think at what price? Was it 3 million?
3 million, yeah. It's going to be just below 3.
Which is so great compared to where you originally thought it was going to be, right? I mean, the first numbers out there were pretty significant,
Exactly.
and over 2 years. So that's really an advantage for all of us. And the roof's a 20-year roof, right? 20-year?
It's a 30. We put on a 30. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, you want to describe what's on the screen?
So basically, as they say, we started at the south end, and this was all planned out, several meetings with the administrators at the school. I mean, it minimized the impact. Even though we did have most of the school closed for majority of the year, we still had staff that had to work, custodians had to clean, and so forth. So we worked around schedules, and working with the contractor was very flexible. And as we said, we think this was a very good idea to go ahead. And as the results are bearing out, it was the right decision to take care of this all in 1 year. For a lot of reasons, what Joanne said, also just the fact that we were able to get the orders in for the material. Where a roofing contractor is saying, you know, there's been a lot of other projects that they haven't been able to kick off just because the shortage of material. So no one probably could have envisioned what was going to be happening early on in the process, but regardless, it just it does show that by starting so early like this, we were very successful in getting this work done. So we're pretty happy about that.
Right. So as we go forward, one thing that we'll have to keep in mind is that the solar, there's a lot of real estate on top of the roof for solar. So there's a lot of opportunity to really have an impact on cost with regards to electricity. And Mark will have his opportunity, I guess, at this point to speak to the solar project.
So Joanne,
Yes.
is the entire roof now solar ready in terms of the engineering of it?
We have the engineering completed. We did that as part of the roof. So we did have Tom DeBlasi and his firm really spec out every spot that we could. And they did a full load analysis for us prior to the roof project.
So basically anything that's done that's appropriate for solar can hold solar?
Correct. So there's areas that are not, and it has a lot to do with the mechanicals. And we have,
Right.
quite a bit of mechanicals on the roof, but there is some other areas that have a really decent amount of space. And I think it's really, going to benefit us in the future as we install the solar. It's going to reduce our cost significantly.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's a good segue to Mark. Thank you, Joanne and Dan. Mark, you have a screen share as well?
Yeah, let me know if you can see this.
Yes, I can.
The visual. Okay, so you can see the PDF?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everybody. In the car industry right now, the unexpected disruptor is the unavailability of the microchips. And so there's low cost financing and production is up and running, but nobody can sell cars because they can't get the microchips. In the solar business, we all expected that roofs could be done before we install solar panels, and nobody can now. Now there is this unexpected shortage, as Joanne and Dan were describing, of the roofing. They call it polyiso. It looks like a kickboard. It's the rigid foam that goes under to insulate roofs, and it adds a structural component. It's what goes underneath the membrane. And the polymer, the expanding agent that's used to manufacture this foam, has been unavailable due to a fire in Texas 6 months ago. And it has just roiled the industry. So it's just amazing that Buchanan and Joanne, the Board of Ed, were able to secure so much of this material and get it installed this summer. For example, we have a small repair that I'm helping with at the YMCA, and it has been put off 6 months because we can't get the material, and we just need 300 square feet. So it's really just spectacular that you all have gotten that work done. So I just wanted to give you just a quick hit on a feel good on what came out of our 2020. Last summer, 2020, we released an RFP seeking responses and pricing for several solar systems. And where we are as of right now is West School, as I reported at the last meeting, is complete. And I think, Joanne, you should be getting the first invoice, if not already, by today. From your counterparty there. So West School is complete. Sac School is underway. All of the panels have been installed as of yesterday. So this is just a little picture. I don't know if you could see it, but pretty tight spacing there. These are directly attached. It's not a ballasted system. So they're frictionally attached with mechanical connections, but it's not loaded with the typical concrete blocks underneath each panel. So it allows for a much more flush and tighter integration. However, there are two snow breaks here, which kind of break up the homogeneous mass of the solar panels, but I think it looks really good. It's actually best seen from South Avenue, right as you're coming into town, and as you pass the YMCA and you look over to the cafeteria, you could see the system. And Waveney is beginning today as well, electrical and staging. So Waveney Care Center, and they ended up being one of the co-participants in the RFP pricing, and went back and forth there a little bit, and they had some roof work to do, but their system is also under construction right down the street. So that, I feel that was a pretty good exercise to have secured the competitive pricing from the RFP last summer. We got 3 systems out of it. So let me see if I can just take a peek here. So I just wanted to give you a kind of, there's not a whole lot of technical update on the initiative to install CHP at the town hall and Lapham Community Center. We've been refining numbers and doing some value engineering. This looks like it's showing up. So what you see here, bottom right photo, is the Yanmar 35 kW CHP unit, which is sitting, anybody's welcome to see it and happy to tour you over there. But this is out behind the water treatment plant facility. And these Yanmar units have a corresponding indoor component represented in this blue frame, which is all the pre-manufactured plumbing and control system, which is built off-site, which has some advantages of quality control and being able to implement the two pieces with minimal amount of site work, because a lot of these connections are fabricated in a controlled environment, and also addresses things like minimum prevailing wage and so forth, because we get to build this material in the factory offsite. It looks like we're commingling two sides here. So on the right, so Town Hall, pretty clear payback. It is a 6.9-year payback. And Lapham Community Center, we're refining the numbers on that. What's happening with the unit at Lapham is that it overproduces electricity by about 40% of the requirement. So we're trying to pair that with another electrical meter proximate to the site. And one thing we're looking at is combining the field lights for the soccer field, and which are currently powered off of a meter at the water tower. But we're also looking into virtual net metering. There's a chance that the state's going to lift the cap on that. Alternatively, we're rerunning a scenario where we back off usage in the summer, so we produce less electricity, but we have less fuel and maintenance costs. So those are two things we're looking at. And again, the Yanmars here were selected because they're slightly more biased towards electrical production. So given a CCF, given a unit of gas, they produce slightly more electricity than they do heat. And the buildings that we're looking at here have a electric load throughout the year, but a limited heat load limited to the winter. So we feel that they're a slightly better fit for that reason. If you look on the top left slide, that's aggregating where we stand with ZREX right now. And so as Joanne mentioned, we have secured ZREX, the medium ZREX for the New Canaan High School and the Dunning Field lights. So we're looking to release an RFP that would integrate the ZREX and the meters for both the main high school meter and the Dunning Field lights, as well as integrating or at least looking at the options for some demand control systems to be part of that, weather predictive controls as part of the solar implementation, and starting to look at battery storage in the form of actual lithium-ion batteries or capacitors. And really the state hasn't, we're expecting by December that Connecticut will roll out the incentives for battery storage. And what they're looking for is participants that have a dispatchable battery asset, which means that they could ping Dan, for example, and say, we could use some more power on the local grid. Can you release for 5 or 15 minutes what you stored in your battery? And we'll pay you for it. And so the economics are looking at sort of a combo where they're going to basically rent the battery storage space from you and then pay you when you discharge to grid. And the other benefit is that you can self-discharge so that when you're experiencing peaks in demand charges, you can grab the battery power first to help soften some of those peaks. So those are sort of adders that we would incorporate in the next solar RFP just to get the most out of it. We do have ZREX for the water treatment plant, SACs, and Town Hall Annex. And recently the library and the YMCA secured ZREX for 100 kW systems. So that's sort of that's the aggregate of RECs we have in town right now.
So Mark,
that's cool.
What is the service agreement number? I mean, it looks like it's a small and a medium. Is that when the state gives us a ZREC, there's some sort of a service agreement?
Yes. Yep. So these are.
Is that already signed or?
Yep. They're signed. Actually, these are all signed. So all of these have posted the surety payments and signed the counterparty agreement with Eversource. What that is Eversource basically bonds a 15-year commitment to pay you or pay the meter owner for the power it generates. And that payment is in the form of a cash payment quarterly to the meter owner. And that's, you assign the rec to them and they buy it from you. So they're the purchaser of the recs. We generate recs and the utility buys the recs from us in the form of a quarterly cash payment. It's a 15-year agreement that starts when the solar meter is installed. It's a performance-based credit program.
So the terms of this agreement is basically the same as the terms of the agreement that we use for all the elementary schools?
Yes, the rate is a little different. So
Right.
the New Canaan High School, we got the $75 per megawatt hour versus I think at one point we had $85 recs 2 years ago. But right, so basically you own that system or somebody else owns it. Eversource puts a meter, measures the energy produced, and in the case of a medium Z-rec on the high school, it'll produce $30,000 to $45,000 a year of cash payments from Eversource for a 15-year term.
Okay, great, thanks.
So I think, yeah, I mean, this was the slides. Can you see, are you seeing two slides at once right now?
No.
You are, okay, it's sort of paired that here, but so
We see impaired
you see impaired, okay.
compared to your PDF.
Yeah, I don't know why it's funny. So, well, anyway, yeah, this is just a executive summary of the economics on the left for the two CHP systems we're looking at. I think Joe mentioned that you're expecting to have gas to the town hall this fall. So that would probably be the first implementation. And then the second unit would be installed at Lapham when they bring gas service to Lapham. The aerial on the right is just showing approximate the red box shows the approximate location of the unit in the basement of the town hall. And then the little box to the right is where we would have the radiator. So we're decoupling the units. The picture you saw before, that tall unit, these CHP units are about the size of a side-by-side sub-zero refrigerator, like a commercial sub-zero refrigerator side-by-side. They're about that tall, about 7 feet tall. And because of height restrictions in the basement, we're removing the top 3 feet of that unit and co-locating the radiator in an outside vault. So that's sort of the plan for the town hall location. And at Lapham, I think you all saw this slide before. The unit would be located outside where the compressors are, where the air conditioning compressors are, behind the kitchen at Lapham Center.
So Mark, because that part of that is going to be outside of town hall near looked like the side entrance, are there any safety considerations or anything like that where you have to mark it off or block it off so people wandering around don't go mess with it or touch it?
No, there shouldn't be any. So what's kind of ideal at town hall is there's a vault with a grate on it, and that's basically an air shaft. But if you walk over to the air shaft, there's a removable steel grate, and you're looking down at a vault that's sort of maybe 8 feet by 5 feet deep, and that's basically an air shaft for Joe. Is that for combustion air for the boiler, fresh air into the building?
That's exhaust air.
Exhaust air. So we would locate the radiator in that vault. So it's just a heat exchanger. But it'd be underneath there. So it'd be a mechanical piece of equipment, maybe size of a garbage can, and it's just a heat sink basically, and it would be in that vault.
Mark, it's Penny. What is the level of noise around this unit at Lapham. I'm a little concerned with your positioning because it's right under windows that are classrooms.
So it is going to be as noisy as the compressors that are out there right now. And we can take a look at that. And you mentioned this, I think, on our last call.
Yeah.
For us to look at a couple locations there. And so that's something, and we could circle back to the units at the treatment plant and sort of get a decimal reading on those.
You know, actually, if it is just moved slightly to the north, closer to underneath the coffee room, that's not where their classes, but the wing that comes out where you have it tucked right in the corner, that is a classroom as well as the dining room. So I think if you just move it, maybe even 15 feet or something, that it might.
I can't disconnect. You have to disconnect. You have to hit the disconnect.
Okay, I don't know what that interference is there.
I don't even know.
So we'll take a look at that. And so Penny, we're we're not even under, we haven't executed agreements on this. We're still in due diligence on these. So
Okay.
got some time to kind of fine tune the location.
Okay, I just think they're a little sensitive to it because where the air conditioning units were placed in the south end of the building was right under a classroom, and it really is interfering, you know, so thanks for looking at it though.
Sure.
Are
So,
we, Mark, are you finished?
yep, that's
Could
what
we
I have.
circle back? Could we circle back to SACS and the CHP and also the boilers and where we stand on that, Dan? And Joanne's still with us?
And you want to start with the boilers, and then I can pick up on the CHP. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So at SACS, we have 3 new boilers. One has been installed and has been online. The second 2 are in the process of being completed, connected in. So we anticipate that all 3 will be online for the coming heating season.
Okay.
Pretty
As far
straightforward.
as the CHP goes, we are in the process of finalizing the submittals from Aegis to the engineer. We spoke with him on Friday afternoon. He indicated that he expects to have the outstanding issues resolved this week. And then we'll be in a position to sign the contracts and move forward. They have asked to extend it from a 2-month project to a 6-month project. So we're working through the details with Aegis on that and trying to get a better handle on it in terms of what is creating the delay. Could be parts, it could be the supply chain. But at any rate, we expect to be in a good place to start shortly with the install.
Yeah, where did we end up with the incentives on the boilers, Dan? With Eversource?
Dan? Yeah.
Oh, the incentive on the boilers? I believe that's part of the whole package with our energy project that we're working. Is that where the funding, is that where it's going to, Joanne?
Yeah, I believe that it's going to come out to be around 40 to 50,000 a unit.
Okay. Any other questions on our solar and CHP projects? Okay, moving on to, Tiger, do you want to bring it back to project updates? Why don't we start with Eversource and Aquarian and state of the roads downtown?
Hey, Kevin, I'm sorry. Just, I think we talked about this in July, but the idea of just doing a summary cumulative presentation to like the Board of Finance Town Council to show all the energy saving projects that have been done. And then, you know, kind of what's continuing to go on. I think people would be excited to see kind of a summary of, you
I
know.
thought we do that, Amy, as we go into budget season to show.
Okay. Okay, because I think it's a great story.
So we have a really another almost complete full year, and Mark can put it all together.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, so you wanna start off with where we are at present with the infrastructure in the downtown area for Aquarian and Eversource. They are sharing space in front of the town hall. There's an energy saving measure right there. Yeah. Sorry, we don't move too often, you know, it turns the lights off. Right now, Aquarian is working in front of the town hall, in front of the firehouse. They have one more day, hopefully, to finish the work that they need to do to hard pipe the area in front of the town hall and in front of the firehouse, so that the majority of the work, or the rest of the work that they have going on, won't affect us. So as they bring water, you know, service down, we'll still be up. Firehouse will be up and the town hall will be up. At that point in time, they're going to shift over and allow Eversource Gas to come in. Eversource Gas has 120 feet left to go. They estimate that's going to take them 10 days in front of the firehouse to then finish the main extension that was from East Avenue, Main and East, down to Locust and Forest to power up a new development that's at the intersection of Forest and Locust at 42 Forest Street. So that'll get service there. They have one procedure to perform in conjunction with that at the intersection of Main and East. And then they'll be done. During that time, Aquarian will be working on the Cherry Street end of Main Street, putting in temporary services. They've got to pressurize the line, chlorinate the line, and then start the services from there. They've got at least another month or more of work to do once Eversource is done, for them to be actually able to then take out the temporary service lines that are there and then hook up everyone permanently in that area. They'll be working concurrently on Elm Street. They have the main in now. That main's got to be pressurized, and then it has to be chlorinated, wait a week, and then they'll start the services back, excuse me, for the businesses in that area between Park Street and Grove Street. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on in the middle of the downtown right now. Eversource has said that the moment that they finish the work out in front, they're going to start working in the back, meaning that they're going to come in off of Park Street and come down the driveway on the Park Street lot, the Playhouse lot, and then hook up gas to the town hall and other facilities here. At that point in time, we're hoping to work in conjunction with the CHP unit and get that all working in one. So they're hoping by the end of the season, they'll have gas to town hall. Speaking of the roads, the condition of the roads themselves, we gave them an additional year. Since they lost COVID in 2020, they didn't have a sales force out. They had basically laid them all off or furloughed them for the year. So they didn't have anyone to come out and sell. So we didn't think it was fair to, while we had a 3-year MOU with them, we didn't think it was fair that if they lost the year to actually make them uphold that. The only thing I've told them is that they need to pave Lower Main Street, or we need to pave Lower Main Street at their expense. And that's from Farm Road to at least Oak Street, if not Lakeview Avenue. They have 8 separate procedures that they have to do in that area. I talked to the manager this morning. He's going to start scheduling those. And we believe that there's one more service for someone on Main Street who wants it. And once that is hooked up, we think everyone will be satisfied on Main Street. The other roads that we've told them that we want to see happen, Park Street, Gower Road, and then work our way through the rest of the roads. I told them that the moratorium for 2018 roads would expire at the end of this year. So any road that was done in 2018 will be looking to pave in 2022. So in essence, we gave them 18, 19, 20, we gave them the 21 for the COVID year, and 22 going to come in and start to repave. Anything that had been paved prior is at their expense. Anything that wasn't will be at ours. that kind of gives you an idea of where we stand. We're hoping in the springtime to come through and start to take care of the majority of the roads in and around the downtown area, or specifically from along South Avenue between South and Main or South and Park. We're hoping to satisfy all that and get our roads back, these roads back in shape. Our overall PCI, pavement condition index, is excellent. Even with these roads here, we're at about an 84 and change, which is phenomenal. Better than anyone else around us in Fairfield County. But the fact that everyone comes into the downtown and the downtown is not in great shape makes us look like we're not holding our end of the bargain. The only other thing we have is Aquarian is on track for a 3-year expansion or transmission line that's going to come from Wilton into town. In 2022, they're going to start in Wilton and do a portion here in town in front of East School so that we can pave Little Brook Road in 2022. And then in 2023, they're going to come into town in the on the eastern side, work their way through, and then in 2024 finish. The roads that'll be affected, majority of the roads that will be affected, is they come down 106, come down Little Brook, Lakeview, across the cemetery, get onto Harrison Avenue to South Avenue. So that's their plan right now. They're still working through some test pits that they'll be performing in front of the school or on Little Brook Road, not necessarily in front of the school, near the intersection of Clapper Hill next week. And then they'll finalize their plans for that. So I think that kind of gives you an idea of where we are on that infrastructure plan. The only other thing we have exciting news in the fact that on August 30th, we received a commitment to fund letter for the Park Street sidewalks. This is part of a LOTSIP grant, Local Transportation Capital Improvement Plan grant for $976,000. That'll be for replacement of sidewalks from 106 to 124 on the western side of the road. So almost all the sidewalks that haven't been done before will be done as part of that. We have about 10 items on their commitment fund letter. They actually have 10 items that we have to satisfy. We have 6 months in order to satisfy it, and they want to see a shovel in the ground within 6 months. That'll coincide almost perfectly with the start of the construction season next season. Yeah, Amy, I'll try to get a light next time for my head. The lighting here is kind of tough. I'm sorry. But that tells you where we are on that. And then we're still working through comments on the LOTSIP grant for Richmond Hill from Mead Park up to Marshall Ridge. The majority of the comments are very similar to the ones that we received on Park Street. So we're hoping that since we got a favorable reply on Park Street, we'll get a favorable reply on Richmond Hill as well. The only other thing we have to note is that Storm Ida came in, kind of hit us pretty hard in certain areas, hit townspeople pretty hard. We had 6.25 inches in 4 hours, or about 4 1/4 inches in an hour and a half, which equates to, depending upon how you want to look at the chart, it's a 200-year storm. We had a good number of complaints or concerns from residents, some that we had in the past, some that were new. Some people who had never been flooded in 27 years wound up getting water in their basement. That's just purely volume at that point, but we are seeing an uptick in intensity of storm. And that's probably the major concern, is the intensity thereof. It's not necessarily the amount of water, it's how much water we're receiving and at what time we're receiving it. So we are talking to the state about some of the areas because they are involved. The state's going to start doing some work on 106. It appears to put in an additional drain line on 106, and that might help some of the area at 106 and Jelliff Mill. And we've got some other areas that we're looking at doing some drainage studies on to try to take care of the new norm, so to speak.
Hey, Tigers, you know how much rain we've had this year over average? We're way over, aren't we? Connecticut,
we are over. Yeah, I don't have the specific number in front of me. But we are over, but it's more like I said, it's more the intensity. It's not always the volume. Right. It's the intensity. It's, you get 4 1/4 inches in an hour and a half. Our systems can't handle that. Yeah. We're designed for a certain year storm that DOT's designed for a lesser, most house systems are, your gutters are for a 2-year storm, right? So your gutters are going to get inundated immediately. States at about a 10-year or more, towns at a 25-year or more. This was a 200-year storm. There's not much we can do at that point.
So I didn't want to interrupt Tiger. I just wanted to go back to the report that we're doing on energy savings. The Board of Ed had already asked Dan and Joanne to start working on that with respect to school projects. And we've done some school projects with Mark and some without. So so we don't have a duplication of effort. I just think it makes sense for the schools to take on the initial task of all the projects that we've done on energy savings and get that together. So you all will have a good understanding of it, and to link in with Mark, where we've worked with him as needed on, very successfully on the solar projects and CHP. But I just didn't want 2 people working on one thing. So I wanted to say that's where we were. I thought that made sense. That's where we were at the Board of Ed.
Okay, thanks, Penny. Are there any questions on anything that we covered?
Tiger, what would you say for the upcoming projects for the last quarter of the year?
Last quarter of the year, we're looking at paving Main Street, the bump outs on Elm Street, at least on the northern side, if not on both sides. We have a transformer issue on one corner of South and Elm that we have to work through with Eversource. And then I'd like to see we have to pave the large Waveney milled lot. We have to take care of that. And then hopefully we'll be able to take care of the lots, the Park Street Playhouse lot once Eversource comes through, specifically the Playhouse lot. Those are what we have strictly in the hopper right now. We are on the building side. We're working on the carriage barn right now, renovation on the carriage barn. We ran into some structural issues, a lot of things. Once we opened up the wall, we noticed exactly what had been cut. A lot of the supporting beams and supporting structure had been cut. So we're working through that with the contractor. The powerhouse itself is looking to do a major renovation there. So we're working with them on their design. That's kind of commensurate with the potting shed thought of putting bathrooms there. We have some further ideas as to what might happen in that area in conjunction with the powerhouse, trying to make that more of a performing arts center, so to speak. And the Waveney House, the ADA upgrades are almost complete now. The fire escape is in. The western sidewalk is in. The loge looks good. We're just working on final work there. We're waiting on the doors to come in. There was a long, very, very long lead time on the doors, somewhere in the order of 26 weeks. So we're waiting on the doors and some other systems that are coming in at that point. But if you go up and take a look, it looks really, really nice. Waveney House itself is coming around very, very nicely.
Hey, Tiger, what's the status with the Waveney elevator? The access to the second floor. I just forget where we are in that.
We are.
We're nowhere. It's not. We got to make a decision as to what we're going to go back with into next year's capital budget.
Right, we're looking at overall uses of the building before we can come back. Right.
On that score, we have a project going in conjunction with. Well, we're about to fund a consultant along with Iona Business School has chosen us as a Waveney House as a semester project. So we're working on a plan for Waveney usage in terms of increasing the revenue plan so that we can bring that back with a plan to do the elevator and the second floor bathrooms. So.
Who is the we when you say we?
Tucker is leading it primarily.
Okay, because we've had so many task force and committees on what to do there. So, and is the thought, Kevin, is it from where you're sitting necessarily related to revenue, or related to just better utilization if we look at it more as a community center, just improved higher and best use and using facility more irrespective of revenues, or just?
Well, the issue about uses goes to the issue of whether or not you can use the second floor for weddings and for other uses. And unless now that we have the first floor all ADA compliant, and you know, my mention to we received a U.S. attorney, what is it called, Tiger, U.S. Department of Justice letter on our ADA compliance throughout town that we're working on. And as long as we're making progress toward ADA compliance with Waveney House, but we have to have a plan that allows us to use the second floor to have the full utilization of the building for all sorts of activities.
Yep.
And the other two projects Joe mentioned, thanks Joe, was we're working on the theater roof. We had a kickoff meeting with the contractor, and the Gore's Pavilion roof, we had a kickoff meeting with the contractor. So both will be underway shortly.
Yeah, and we're also working toward a plan on the Playhouse, as you know, and we'll be bringing that forth in conjunction with the ARPA funds discussion. So
in the Playhouse, it's in terms of doing, I'm assuming we've talked about this Board of Finance, but just in terms of doing an analysis on the cost benefit and demand needs and potential use of that facility. I know we talked about doing the roof because you had to preserve the building, but just in terms of looking forward and whether, you know, an investment is financially responsible or appropriate given potential or not potential demand, correct?
well, we're working on all of that. We need an operator plan, and we have discussions going on with that plan. So we have to bring that plan forward as part of the proposed capital investment to upgrade the building, which hasn't been upgraded in 15 years since we built it.
Yep.
Including ADA.
Yep.
And I think that's the, Tiger, what else do we have? I think the police department building project will go forward in terms of all the funding bodies meeting and to decide where we're going with that. And what else we have on the agenda?
All we had on there was new business and capital planning for next year, but you asked us what we were working on.
Maybe we'll save that for October.
That's fine.
As we start going into budget season, thinking about what's on the.
What's going on with Vine Cottage? What's happening there?
Board of Selectmen authorized the RFP to go out again. We're exposing to the market for the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And
Is the RFP posted so people can see?
I believe it's posted, Tigers, and Joe, isn't it posted? And we'll run an advertisement in the paper again and see who's interested in it.
Okay, and is that for just the building structure, not necessarily the additional land around it? I can look it up. I'll look at it and see what it says. Okay.
Sorry, what's the RFP to do? Is it to paint it, to sell it, to what's involved in the RFP?
Soliciting purchasers.
Okay. Okay.
But for the building or for the entire property? That's my question, because it's part of the campus, right?
The house has to, with the historic preservation restrictions on it, that you have to have a requisite property to go with the house.
So I'm just curious. So does that mean that, because it's right now it's town land, it means that we would, well, I'll look at the RFP, but just, because I know people are concerned about, keeping the land and the campus, because considering it's right near town hall.
Have we covered it, Tiger?
I think so. If you're if you want to wait on the capital planning, that was the last portion.
Well, I think, we're just beginning to start, I hate to make budget season a 10-month process rather than 9-month or 6-7-month process. So, but we start seriously thinking about budget in October going into November. And so let's hold that for an October meeting as to what kind of projects we're talking about for next year.
Sure.
Unless anybody has any thoughts. And anybody have any, I drove around Waveney yesterday and thinking about what the next project should be. And if anybody has any suggestions as they look around town, we welcome suggestion. That's how things get on the docket for consideration. I think we covered it.
I think so as well.
So without any further comments or questions, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
There you
Thank you.
go.
All right. We will all talk in October.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Okay.
Bye.
Mhm.